what we're out here for today and why I organized this rally is to show solidarity with Wisconsin and the most recent shooting of a black man by the police that they've experienced. As some of you may not know, what happens after a black person is shot in the black community by a police officer is it doesn't end there. After that happens, what tends to follow is communal trauma. What tends to follow is a reverberation of anger, a reverberation of rage, a reverberation of being, of however you react to being dehumanized, and it goes throughout the entire community. So today, what we're marching for, so everybody is clear and on the same page, what we're marching for is justice for Jacob Blake. It should already be a given and understood that we're also marching for justice for George Floyd. And for a lot of the folks that are new to this and have not been privy to as many marches, rallies, or protests as I have, even being new to this, we're also here marching to reopen the cases of every person that has been killed by a police department in Minnesota. The list goes on and on and on. From Lionel A. Lewis, to Thurman Blevins, to Demetrius Hill, to Jaffert, to many other names. And a lot of you may not know about those names because they weren't filmed, or because they might have been spun on our local media outlets. Before this started, it's to my understanding that 2 local media outlets wanted to speak to me, of which I do not want to speak to. As a black man, as a black person, as a person of color simply, it is dangerous for me to speak to press because my words can get spun, my words can be misconstrued, my narrative can be retold by white people in any way they see fit. And until WCCO and Fox News get as many black people on the other side of the camera as they do in the writing rooms, as they do in executive production rooms, as they do in directorial positions, I have nothing to say to you. And for WCCO, that brother is young. I know he's young. He shows up to rallies at the end of everything with that nice Van Heusen, very well-pressed dress shirt, and his hair really swiftly coiffed and it's got that good hair gel in it. But you show up at the wrong time of the rally. You show up at the beginning or the end. You need to be here for the whole thing. You should be coming here when you're not getting paid. And you should be telling your boss to fire Liz Collins. I don't want to speak to anybody that's in cahoots with Bob Kroll. That's just how it is. You let go of Liz Collins, we can sit down and have an interview. You want to call me up or send me a DM, we can sit down and have a filmed interview for on-site public media and do that as well. We can talk about your job, what you hope to change, where you hope to go with it, all of that good stuff. I'm open to it. I'm just not open to being filmed by your cameras, speaking to you, giving you permission to my narrative and my voice, and then having you twist it around. There's a danger in the media outlets here right now, and this wasn't necessarily the top story or the thing we were going to address today, but after Wednesday, we really have to address it. I was boots on the ground on Nicollet and 8th when it all went down. I was boots on the ground on Nicollet and 9th when they continued to go down. Rewind, years ago, there is an indigenous man named Billy Hughes who was shot 21 times by the St. Paul Police Department. The St. Paul Police Department is one of the deadliest police departments in the country. After he was shot, your beloved, objective, very white comforting NPR News used the word justified in the headlines of his killing. Now, they said that this was said by the prosecution. However, as a person of color, you have to know how dangerous it is to use those types of words in the modern day lynching of a brown man. That is extremely dangerous to use. And NPR is deemed as safe. So you can imagine how dangerous it is for folks of color like myself to be speaking with WCCO or Fox or Channel 11 or CARE or whatever. I want no part in that. I really challenge you all to get a lot more people of color on both sides of the camera, do better, and then come back to the table. Okay? So what we're marching today for is justice for Jacob Blake, justice for George Floyd, to have all the cases reopened that have been closed to the statute of limitations, and then to also ask the question, there's a reason why we're here at this park. There's a reason why we're here. And that is to challenge your community and question you if you believe this neighborhood is welcoming the black folks. Think about that right now. We're gonna quickly march. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna have a community forum for about an hour or less. And I wanna hear from you what you actually feel about this community. And if you live outside of this community, answer the question, is your community welcoming the black folks? And to catch you up on this community, we're next to Spy House, where the owner put out an email that said he doesn't want any street people coming into his coffee shops. We're next to French Meadow, where people openly were Trumpers, which is, their political allegiance, I could care less. However, some of the things they said were extremely complicit and parallel with white supremacy. These are the businesses in your neighborhood. These are the businesses that you vote for every day when you go get a mimosa on the French Meadow patio. These are the businesses you vote for every day with your dollars when you go get a macchiato from Spy House. You are voting for white supremacy when you enter these businesses. The reason you don't see black-owned businesses in Lowry Hill East and around here is for a reason. And it is time for you to question why your neighborhood looks the way it does. And the last little bit that we're here to march for is the rules, the okie doke, and the bamboozling that they've been running on you for affordable housing in this neighborhood. Lisa Bender has been openly, willingly lying to you by saying affordable housing, naturally occurring affordable housing. When landlords make a 77% profit margin, we don't call that naturally occurring affordable housing. We call that naturally occurring profitable housing. You are welcoming and ringing in a new class level of resident that is going to extremely gentrify the entirety of Uptown. You may not feel it, see it, or hear it right now, and that could be because of your power, rank, and privilege to not have to. But the brown and black people in this neighborhood, including myself who lives around here, we've been seeing it the whole damn time. And we're here to say enough is enough. We're not gonna stand for it any longer. If you've been boots on the ground in the encampments, you know that $900 to $1,500 a month is not affordable housing. The Hennepin County gives out housing vouchers. So a third of your monthly income goes to your rent. Affordable housing is not $900 to $1,500 a month. You need to understand that. We need you to take a look at your community, take a look at your leadership, take a look at your police department, take a look at yourself, and ask yourself, am I really making this my life's work to understand my whiteness, to understand my part in this, and to understand my complicity in white supremacy and what I can do going forward to break it down? Think about that while we march. Really, really think about that. All right? When I say his name, you say Jacob Blake. Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
Say his name.
Jacob Blake.
I'm gonna ask Trey Hearn to come up and speak really quick.